This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. All right, so backstage next, we've got Maria doing a bit of an interview, and Lita is going to interrupt and say, Edge doesn't care what the fans think. And Maria said Lita needs to keep her mouth open. And Lita says she's going to use her mouth to laugh when Edge walks out as WWE champion. And Lita said Edge and herself are going to have a private sex celebration. Boy, this is just some weird stuff here in hindsight, is it not?
Well, again, it was different times, different places. When you go back and look at 15 years ago, it was, again, a different time and a different place.
Let my family save your family some cash. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need money out of your pocket, but we will save you money. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of how much. SaveWithConrad.com. Next up, it's a three-way dance for the world title. Triple H won the Road to WrestleMania #1 contender tournament, so he earned a shot against John Cena at WrestleMania. Of course, Cena won, making him tap out. The next night, Triple H demands another shot, but Edge interrupts him, and he says, hey, I became the WWE champ at New Year's Revolution. I deserve a shot. And here we are. We've got a three-way dance set up. So they get 17 minutes and 10 seconds, and Wade would say no crazy ring entrances like WrestleMania. Edge ducks out after the opening bell and tells Hunter and Cena to start the match. I've always liked that. If it's a three-way, why not just remove yourself from the situation and let these guys beat the shit out of each other and get tired, and I'll pick my spots. Edge positioning himself as the ultimate opportunist. That made sense, right?
Actually, absolutely. And the spot was stolen from, if you go back to the, probably best Royal Rumble, the 92 Royal Rumble, I always loved when Jake made his entrance, and Piper, and it may have been Piper and Flair were going at it, and Jake just slid in and went to the corner and watched him. Like, why get involved?
Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah. Okay. You two guys are going at it. I'll be over here. let me know when there's an opening. I'll jump in and do whatever it is I need to do.
Eventually Cena's going to get involved here with Lita, and there's a 5-knuckle shuffle that he's going for. And when Lita pulls the top rope down, Cena falls to the outside and fans cheer it. So this is definitely the era where fans are starting to turn against John Cena. Was there any concern about that, hey, we're positioning him as our babyface, our great white hope, our All-American, our next Hulk Hogan, but the fans just don't seem to be with it?
I think that there was, yes. I mean, there was concern amongst a lot of people thinking that, you had to protect John in the traditional babyface way, but John wasn't a traditional babyface, and the audience cared so damn much about John one way or the other. Those that loved him. Those that didn't, they were boisterous. So as long as they were reacting, like, well, you know what? They care.
The match gets really, really bloody here. When you watch this back, I mean, me and you have talked off air before, you don't really dig all the blood. Can you enjoy it here in 2006, or when you watch blood in wrestling, does it usually need to be like the 70s or 80s for you to be with it?
No. And again, I think that in the moment, sometimes, the old school way of thinking was, this is good for the story. This is good for business. This is believability. And you get wrapped up in it. And I think that blood elicits emotion. So you can relate to bleeding. You can relate to that pain. So it's an effective tool. I just, in my older age, man, I just kind of got to the point where you don't really need that to sell the same emotion and to be able to sell and tell the same story. And it may just be me, but that's as you get older, your tastes change.
Yeah, they do. Let's talk about the finish here. Hunter tosses the chair aside, then retrieves the sledgehammer. Edge catches him out of nowhere with a spear, And then Edge goes after Hunter with the sledgehammer, but Hunter avoids it. Cena goes for the FU on Edge, but Hunter low blows Cena and Edge falls to the outside. Hunter then goes for the pedigree, but Cena drops Hunter onto his back and then goes for a bridge pin for the win, and the place explodes. Wade would say it was a good and brutal spot fest. They handled the three-way situation as believably as possible, and it was main event worthy. He gave it 4 stars. I think this is so fascinating where fans are booing John Cena when he comes in. They're booing or they're cheering when John Cena gets screwed by Lita midway through the match on a random spot. But when he gets the pin, they've told such a great story, they explode. So even if their guy didn't win, that's not what it's about. We just saw something fucking awesome and they explode.
Yes. And I think it surprised them too. So they were happy to be surprised and like, damn, that was good. And that explosion was for something that they may not have expected, but they were happy because he earned it. He being John Cena earned it throughout that match. And all 3 of those guys left everything they had in that ring. And the audience appreciates that, and they look at it and go, yes, this is what we wanted. And I think that that's a lot of where that explosion came from.
Overall, what'd you think about this show, watching it back for the first time in 15 years? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle?
I thought it was a thumbs up. And, you know, mainly from the Vince and Shawn and Shane handicap match and the last match. I thought the last match was absolutely spectacular.
I want to mention too, after the match, Hunter attacks John Cena from behind. He's going to grab the sledgehammer and then lay out the referee. He drops Edge and Cena with sledgehammer shots to the face. He does a DX crotch chop over Cena's fallen body, and Hunter's music plays. And then he gets to the top of the ramp and does another crotch chop. So Cena and Edge are motionless on the mat as Hunter is playing to the crowd. So even though Hunter has been positioned as a heel, we're definitely flirting with him being a babyface. Not necessarily that the crotch chop thing is that, but with the teases from Shawn Michaels on Suck It and all that, we're headed towards a DX reunion of sorts. And that is not debatable in this era, right?
Right.
When, you know, we've sort of hinted at, even at WrestleMania, when they're doing the crotch chops here and there, a month later, it's apparent. When did you know, hey man, we're going to do a reunion?
For a while, and it was a battle to get there. I don't think that Shawn and Hunter really wanted to go back there because it wasn't the full DX.
Right.
So it was a little bit of a battle to get him there, but eventually we got him there.
Well, June 25th, 2006 will be the next Raw only pay-per-view. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on top, it's DX taking on the Spirit Squad. So we're all the way back. I'm sure we're going to talk about that in the future, but that's going to do it for this week's episode of Something to Wrestle. We greatly appreciate. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.